Welcome to another episode of FCS Delivered. Happy Thanksgiving. We certainly have a lot to be thankful for this FCS season. I'm Craig Haley along with co-host Gary Reasons. Gary, happy Thanksgiving. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Craig. It's been a little fun ride here. Been traveling quite a bit, as you guys may know, but we're getting down to the holidays, which means it's fun time too. So I enjoy it.
Well, we had Santa Giant last week, so we know the holidays are coming. Gary, Seth, Biley, and Graham Bella are producers. This week, we're going to talk about how we got here, the FCS playoffs. It's a busy week. Obviously, you've been out and about with FCS National Awards on campus. That'll be our second segment. And it's so busy, we're talking about who's in, who's out with the FCS playoffs. But the big question for inquiring minds, what's your favorite side dish on Thanksgiving?
Well, Craig, I don't turn down much of anything. If you look at me, you can know I like to eat, right? But I actually think that the green bean casserole that I grew up on is one of my favorites, and my wife continues to make that and put that in our family Thanksgiving meal. So I really enjoy green bean casserole amongst all the other goodies there. What about you, Craig? What do you like?
Well, for sure, I am a big fan of my mother-in-law, Lindsay's stuffing. Now, she's a Cowboys fan, and they're taking on your Giants. Not the best game, so I think there's going to be maybe extra time to make even extra stuffing for me. We'll see.
I think we should just during the Cowboys-Giants game. I think just people just eat then. Don't worry about the game. Just eat then. The game's not going to be too thrilling. So
hopefully it will be. Well, last week was certainly thrilling in the FCS. I mean, week 13, an extra week to the regular season. Our game of the week was Lehigh beating Lafayette, the 160th meeting. Lehigh won 38-14 to clinch the Patriot League automatic bid to the FCS playoffs. There were 5 of the 10 clinched this past Saturday. You had Southeast Missouri and the Big South OVC, which had a 4-way tie for the title. You had South Dakota State taking the Missouri Valley bid in a 3-way tie for the title there. Central Connecticut State beat Duquesne outright to take the bid. They beat them head-to-head, that is. And Drake in the Pioneer League. So it puts us into the FCS playoffs, Gary. 24 teams. 16 teams are seeded this year. 8 get a bye here in the first round, which takes place this week. What are some of your thoughts after seeing the field come out on Sunday?
Well, first of all, I think the committee did a very good job of making the selections. And, I watched the selection show, and I was pretty much locking step with almost everything that they did. And really, the analysts that they had on did a good job of bringing it home for us and really understanding what it is. So if you look at what's going on, the first round is upon us. And, it's going to be in various campus sites across the country. But there's some really good matchups, and there's one that I think is pretty neat in Illinois, and Missouri. So that's going to be fun. We'll talk about that one. But it's you can't go wrong, I think, with what this has been. And I think that the committee has gotten it right, and they understand what it takes to get into it, and really the at-large bids. Those are the ones that are almost the most coveted. The seeding is really something important for you as a team of where you're going to possibly go or be. Obviously, having home opportunities to play there and being a top seed is paramount. And it really has shown over the years that it's tough to go on the road late in the year, and especially go to the more northern teams, which we have had a lot of. And it's tough to play up there and win and come out with a win. So, but I think the committee got it right, Craig, and it's been a good selection. And I've got some Star Wars going on behind me here with the lights today, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think you're right that the at-large picks are the most intriguing scenario from year to year. And most years in an 11-game regular season, 7-4 gets you in from a power conference. 7-5 did not cut it this year. I mean, there were no at-large teams that were below 8 wins. So I think that was a big factor this year. And I think, overall, the intriguing scenario of the weekend could have been who was going to be the number 2 seed after South Dakota, beat North Dakota State there 29-28, in final 12 seconds, I believe it was. Who would get the number 2 seed? It wound up being North Dakota State. I guess it was because they had the head-to-head over the 2-time defending champs, South Dakota State. They had one more Division I win because South Dakota and South Dakota State beat a sub-FCS team each. So that was kind of intriguing. We all knew Montana State was going to be number one after North Dakota State lost. I mean, Montana State 12-0, the only unbeaten team. So, but I tell you, it's still, it's still a fascinating bracket no matter how you see them, because you're going to be having to go through power teams altogether. Second round matchup. I mean, we could have a monster one, Gary. Tennessee State is playing at Montana in the first round. You have to figure Montana wins that. If they do, they would go to South Dakota State in the second round, a rematch of last year's final in the round of 16. That would be something, Gary.
Yeah, that would be a really fun game. It's an opportunity. You can't discount what Eddie George has done at Tennessee State and get that resurgence, that Tennessee State team going on the road. You never know what's going to happen, but it would definitely be a huge, huge victory for them. But as you said, Craig, it could bring up that rematch.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tennessee State. I mean, they beat Southeast Missouri, even though SEMO has the automatic bid in the Big South OVC. But what a race! I mean, 4 teams going 6-2. UT Martin got into the field as a third team. Tennessee Tech did not get in, but they were 7-5, and that. You had to have 8 wins this year, according to the committee. So all in all, I think you're right. The committee did an excellent job. I think it's been improved in recent years. I think for about 3 years now, fans in general have come away saying, I don't have too many gripes. And I think we didn't always say that in the past. I think the committee, it's the same nucleus from year to year, 10 committee members. There's like 4 new ones this year, but 6 returning. So it kind of turns over. But this particular group has been strong with selecting the bracket overall. Not an easy job. There's always going to be somebody complaining, Gary, no matter how you make this field.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Craig, earlier that there's only no 7-5 teams getting in, and that's kind of something that I think that is interesting in this bracket, that you're not going to get in with those. And really, when you look at for instance, the Southland Conference, UIW, the only entrant there in the bracket, and that's the only deserved team, really, in my estimation. I've seen everybody play in the Southland, and I think UIW is head and shoulders above the rest of the teams this season. And I'm pretty much locking step with that. There shouldn't have been a second team from the Southland Conference, and there's one other conference as well that only has the one entrant as well.
Yeah, SoCon always is strong in the playoffs. It's just Mercer. Chattanooga was one of the first 4 teams left out, named by Matt Larson, the committee chair. He mentioned the 4 teams, and they were 7-5, and Western Carolina was 7-5. So yeah, it was just Mercer out of the SoCon. So it's a different mix with the Big South OVC Football Association and the UAC both getting 3 teams each. But it's going to be fun. I mean, this weekend there's 8 games on Saturday. Those 8 winners will go on to the second round on December 7th and play the seeded teams that have byes. Just going to be fun all around. Now, there was one other thing that resulted after Sunday, and that was the Stats Perform FCS Top 25 poll, final one for the regular season. We had a new number 1, Gary, just like number 1 seeded Montana State. First time since November 14th, 2011. What do you think of the Bobcats being number 1?
Well, the Bobcats have played inspired football the entire season, and our Doris Robinson Award winner from a year ago, Tommy Millott, he's led that team at quarterback, and he's done a really nice job with them. And it's been a really fun thing to see Coach Vegan and that football team this year, and really how they have excelled and pulled together, and they've gotten over adversity. And I think they're very deserving of that number one spot there at the top of the Stats Perform poll, and really going into the playoffs. I think they're in a position, Craig, that they are as good as anyone in this field, and could come out with something really, really coveted when it's all over with.
Yeah. Last time, 2011, I mentioned they lasted number 1 for 1 week, Gary, because they played rival Montana the next week and did not win. So I think it's going to be a longer run here for the Bobcats. Now, Gary, have you seen on TheAnalyst.com the FCS National Awards? They've all been announced, 6 awards. It's just a great time of the year. You're the host of the FCS National Awards banquet on January 4th in Frisco, Texas. I know you're getting excited for these awards, and we have we have a new one in the HBCU Plus National Player of the Year. We have the 10th anniversary season of the Doris Robinson Award, FedEx sponsors, 30th anniversary season for the Buck Buchanan. It just takes your breath away for this year's banquet, Gary.
Yeah, it's a lot. It really is. And what these have become have really been kind of mainstays for FCS football. And you talk about the legacy awards that you mentioned there, the Peyton, the Ed Robinson, Buchanan, the Rice Award, the Doris Robinson, FedEx Scholar Athlete Award. It's pretty cool to be able to have all those legacy awards, and now adding another HBCU plus National Player of the Year award to add to that mix is just going to even strengthen, I think, Craig, the quality of the awards selected and really the excellence of the FCS players across the country. I look forward to it every season, and I get a chance, as you know, each week go out to talk to these guys on campus about this, and they are really inspired when I share with them, what we do around these legacy awards, and it's pretty fun to do, and I just can't wait for it. It's fun to put this on television, and it's fun to be able to talk about it with all the folks who come down to Frisco, Texas, and we really have a good time. And all these student athletes that we recognize with these awards, it's tremendous.
Yeah, voting's going on this week. We get it done with the awards before the start of the playoffs. It's all based on the regular season. So looking forward to seeing what pans out with these national votes, 56 members on our voting panel. You mentioned the FCS National Awards on campus. Well, that's what we're going to talk about in segment 2. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back with more FCS Delivered.
Bring rings to beach wedding.
FedEx presents Tall Tales of True Deliveries.
Just another day on the job.
We did this for love. See what we can do for your business. FedEx.
Welcome back to FCS Delivered. Our second segment for Gary and I is always the FCS National Awards on campus. Every week, Monday, during the regular season, we announce 7 weekly award winners from the FCS schedule, 5 for Stats Perform, 2 for Urban Edge Network's HBCU Plus streaming service. And then Gary goes out and visits one of these award winners. Who was it this week, Gary?
Well, Craig, I got to go to one of the most fertile land places in America. I went to the state of Illinois, to Illinois State University. Yeah, it's a farming community down there. And the Redbirds, it was fun to go meet those guys because I think they're a quality football team. Brock Spack has got this team going. I mean, it's a beautiful campus. They've got another fall break right now, but there's nobody on campus but the football team. So they're getting all prepared for their playoff game. So they won. And they came up big. They've got a huge legacy there of football in the community, and they are very, very well supported. They've got a tremendous facility, and I like this program. I like what they're doing. These guys are poised and ready, and they're really battle tested. They're veterans of the FCS playoffs. They've been in it multiple years, so it's something that's not uncommon for them. Tommy Rittenhouse, their quarterback, has done a great job leading this football team and making play after play. And Winker's right. You see him getting the ball there. He's done a nice job at the running back position. Pretty good guy, and a very smart and intelligent young guy, good to talk to. I really enjoy our visit there. We got a good interview with him. But their win over North Dakota has really cemented them in this playoff position that they have. And, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to play a home game, which they qualified for because they have state high school championship games there at the stadium. So they're going to go to SEMO, Southeast Missouri, to play their playoff game. But I think they're going to do well on the road, Craig and I both. I think we'll kind of give you a sneak peek here. We picked Illinois State here in our weekly picks to win. So I think this is a good football team. I like how they do things, Craig, and really had a good visit there. I had a friend come out from FedEx to join us, and she did a nice job speaking to Angela Hannigan, who was there with me, and so she did a nice job talking to him. And Coach Spack, he was just a great host to have us there on campus, and it was a lot of fun to talk to these guys.
So on behalf of our partners, Urban Edge Network and FedEx, I'd like to present Illinois State as our FCS National Team of the Week.
Craig, there's a lot of decals on a lot of helmets there because there's been a lot of good things. And there's my little friend. They touch that every time going out on the field. That's their Redbird that they do. They've got multiples of those all over the conference, all over the athletic facilities. And so you can't get by anywhere without seeing a Redbird and giving them a little tap on the head there. So congratulations to those guys and being in the playoff mix, and it'll be fun to see what they do there, Craig.
Yeah, they've had a great ride, with all these injuries to be 9-3. You mentioned those decals. I love decals that teams put them on the helmets. I growing up, I always thought of Ohio State doing it, but to see Illinois State, tremendous. Now, I get asked you so many questions about the Redbirds, but there's one that I always wonder about. They're in Normal, Illinois. How normal is Normal, Illinois?
You know what? It's a community that is normal. There's no big deal about it. It's just a town that has a university in it, and it's a farming community surrounded all around the southern Illinois. Central and southern Illinois is really where it's at. And Coach Spack told me plain up, this is one of the most fertile areas in all of North America. Right here, the soil is probably 40 inches deep, just complete topsoil. It's tremendous for farming there, and that's a big part of the community there, of what they do around there. So it is very normal way of life.
Great to hear. Well, congratulations to Illinois State for being our Stats Reform FCS National Team of the Week. Congratulations to all 7 winners. You can find them on TheAnalyst.com. 5 for Stats Reform, 2 for HBCU Plus. Just fabulous all around. What a great week 13 in the FCS. Gary, we're going to take one more break, and we get back, we're going to make picks on the FCS playoff games. This is FCS Delivered. Welcome back to FCS Delivered, our third segment for Gary and I. Always the FCS Pick'em segment where we pick games to watch throughout the season. This week, they're all playoff games that we're talking here, Gary. They're all on ESPN Plus, first-round games, except for the last game, Tennessee State at Montana. It's a 10:15 Eastern game on ESPN2 Saturday night, so that's one to look forward to. But throughout the day, they are just great games all around for first-round matchups. Now, usually you and I have some differences, Gary. This week, we picked the same exact playoff winner. So let's just, let's go through the games.
That's scary.
Yeah, you pick a player to watch. I'll pick a player to watch on the other team, and then we'll say who we're picking, because we did pick the same teams. Let's start out with the one that you just visited with. Numbers 12 seed Illinois State's 9-3. They're going to SEMO, who's also 9-3. They're going on the road because the Redbirds can't host this week, even though they were the number 12 seed. Tell us somebody to watch in this game.
Well, I think that you got to look at Illinois State, and if they run the ball like they can and will, I think they're going to be pretty good in this ball game. Winker's Wright is a running back. He's got a great story. Listen to the interviews that I did with him. He is a tremendous young man. I think that he's going to be the difference maker on offense for Illinois State.
Yeah, you're right. They'll run the ball. SEMO, I'll give you Paxton De Laurent, a quarterback. They live and die with the pass. They don't really have a great running attack. It's been Paxton all year. That's the one to watch there. Another game, Central Connecticut State out of the NEC, 7-5. They're going to 10th seeded Rhode Island, which is 10-2 out of the CAA. Central Connecticut State, I'm going to give you Kamal Clark. He was a preseason player of the year defensively in the NEC. He might wind up being the postseason player of the year as well. He's their safety.
Well, and also Rhode Island, they've got a great linebacker, and A.J. Pena, 18 tackles for loss this year, Craig, 7 and 10 sacks. So a couple of defensive guys they're focusing on. I think that's good there. Yeah. But we both picked Rhode Island in that game.
You're right. I mean, after taking Illinois State on the road, we're both going Rhode Island. UT Martin on the road, 8-4 at New Hampshire, the 16th seed, also 8-4. We're both picking UT Martin, but give us a player from one of the teams.
Well, it comes down to UT Martin's their run game, and if they're going to run the ball, Patrick Smith is going to have a big game. He's had 600-yard games already this season. If he's on track, UT Martin's going to be the team.
Well, he's going to have to contend with Josiah Silver, the defensive end of New Hampshire, who gets into the backfield. He's just a tackle for loss machine. He's the one to watch for New Hampshire. All right, Lehigh, the Patriot League champion, co-champ, but they won the bid. 8-3 at number 9 seed Richmond, the CAA automatic bid winner. You have to like Richmond at home, I suppose. I say Zach Palmer Smith, their running back's the one to watch. He's had 1,300 yards this year. Who's the one to watch on Lehigh?
Well, I think we got to look at your winner from a week ago, quarterback Hayden Johnson. He's just a freshman, but for Lehigh, he gets the job done. And if he can elevate the team again this week, you never know. But you and I both have Richmond.
Well, he did win MVP. You're right, against Lafayette in the rivalry game. All right, Drake, a favorite here always. 8-2, the Pioneer League champion. You visited him last year. At number 13 seed, Tarleton State. I think we're going to pick Tarleton State, but who's the one to watch from Drake, Gary?
Yeah, I think it's a tough trip for Drake to go down to Tarleton. I think Kayvon Britton, he's going to be a big runner in this ballgame. Workhorse, 1,700 yards this season at Tarleton State for Kayvon. That's the one that I think you'll look at watching this football game.
Okay. Drake, I'm going to go Luke Biley, their quarterback. He's just a leader all around. But you're right. I mean, Tarleton State with the running attack is tough to contend with. All right. Eastern Kentucky, 8-4 out of the UAC, is going to the number 11 seed Villanova, 9-3 out of the CAA. Give us a player to watch in this game.
Let me see here. I don't have my notes with me, but Craig, you can go first on this one.
Yeah, I'll go Eastern Kentucky. I mean, their running back Josiah Carter. The top 3 rushers in the nation are in his conference, the UAC. So he gets so overlooked. Joshua Carter of Eastern Kentucky. I think he's just fabulous all around.
Well, I'm flaming out here. I don't have my notes here in front of me on this one, so I can't give you a name. It just happened. I just don't have that game down here, so I don't know what happened. But
Villanova, I'll give you a couple. Their tag team at linebacker, Brandon Bell, Shane Hartzell, they are just tackle machines themselves. I think they're both over 100 this year. All right, let's get back on track with Northern Arizona at Abilene Christian. First time in for Abilene Christian. Give us somebody to watch in this game.
Well, I know a lot about Abilene Christian. Went there a week ago, and I think their quarterback, Maverick McIver, he just puts them in a position to win games. They're never out of a game with his arm throwing the football. They've got an explosive offense, and I think that Abilene Christian's going to get it done at home, Craig.
They are so high-powered that it's going to be defense for Northern Arizona. Alex McLaughlin, defensive back. He's just the heart and soul of that defense. He's the one to watch for the Lumberjacks. All right, last playoff game of the night. We mentioned the 10-15 game Eastern on ESPN2. Tennessee State, 9-3. What a year under Eddie George. They're at Montana. Bobby Houck's team is 8-4. Who do you like? And I know we both like Montana, but give us a player to watch.
For Tennessee State, quarterback, Draylon Ellis, he has really shown big. He's shown flashes of where he can just run for days. He's just tremendous out there. He's going to have a big game if they're going to win this football game. But I think that there's some excitement still about Montana.
Excitement is Junior Bergen. That's my player to watch for the Grizz. I mean, playoff time is his time, with the punt returns, the kickoff returns, catching the ball. So he's just, he does it all for the Grizz. So we did have a difference. The Bayou Classic, I know you like Southern. I'm going to take Grambling State in a little bit of an upset, but that's just a great rivalry game all around. Gary, are you ready for the big weekend? Not just the food, but the games.
I think I'll get through the food okay. We'll be all right there. And then the big games, it'll all come and go. And we get to do this again next week. Pick them up, and it'll be fun. This will be a great weekend of FCS football.
Hopefully Santa Giant will return next week, too. Gary, it's been a great week. We appreciate everybody watching and tuning in to FCS Delivered. And we're looking forward to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We hope you enjoyed this week's FCS Delivered.